Hello, I'm Belle Puri. The city is fashion forward and full of culinary surprises. This is our Vancouver. Coming up, a Métis man and a Ukrainian woman's unlikely love story. And building on tradition and winning awards. But first, the fictions behind the fashions. The Vancouver Art Gallery just opened a new show with its biggest bash since pre-pandemic times. A big statement for an ambitious show. It's called Fashion Fictions and explores culture, science, and technology through the lens of fashion and design. Himikalas Pamela Baker has a piece in the show, and Amber-Dawn Bear Robe is a contributing curator. Hello to both of you.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Now, I love what you're wearing. Tell me about it.
Thank you. It's one of my pieces from my ready-to-wear collection. It represents my mother's side of the family, Muskamatzaodeno Kwakwakwewak, where we, in our potlatches, we have button blankets, button robes, some people call it. This one represents my great-grandmother's, or my grandmother's button blanket design.
Love the sparkle.
Thank you. I am wearing a vintage Pamela Baker jacket, circa 2012, and I might just have to walk away with it today.
It's lovely. It looks heavy.
Oh no, it's very light, and it feels really good on the body, and it just adds the pizzazz and the jazz with all the sequins.
How long have you been designing?
33 years, about 33 years.
And what is it that are the main elements of your fashion?
Everything I design comes from my father's side, who's Coast Salish, like the coat. I found the fabric. It represents the basket weaving of my grannies, great-grandmothers, and ancestors. My mother is from the Kwakwakwewak. I continually get inspiration from our traditions and culture, and my great-great-grandmother was Tlingit, who wove several Chilkat blankets, and I go crazy about doing a Chilkat Elements collection. I continue to build onto it.
Now, I know you have another fashion to share with us. We have a model. If we can have Gina come out and show us this. And Pamela, tell us about this.
My last collection I showcased in Santa Fe at Suyo was called Contemporary Animal Kingdom. So this dress represents the animal kingdom treasures of my family. The top part represents the copper, and then we move into the birds. We've got raven. Then we move into the four-legged. We move into the wolves, and then we move into the water, the killer whales, the traditional whales. So it's a mixture of the Salish and my Kwagyoth in regards to the artwork.
Amber, why did you choose Pam's work for the show?
For many reasons, but specifically, I consider her a matriarch of Indigenous fashion, and she also represents Indigenous designers from this region. And her stunning finale piece last year at the Suyo Santa Fe Indigenous Fashion Week, the whale transformation, just really embodies some of the thematics of this exhibition, Fashion Fictions, and I'm just so honored to be working with her.
Tell me about the other works that are in the show.
The previous show, it was mainly, I represented the wolf. My mother's tribe or nation, they believe we transformed from the wolf. I also did a piece that was showcasing my mom, representing a transformation mask, where the model came out and she was showing the raven, and then she opened up and the wolf was on the wings, and then there was my mom's portrait. So that dress was for me. It wasn't like for sale or anything like that. It was just the finale of that show. So each piece, as a First Nations designer, every piece has a story. I don't grab other First Nations art. I basically use what I am allowed to use in my both tribes, nations.
The Fashion Fictions piece, what have you displayed there?
It's the killer whale. It's a transformation killer whale that represents Eatmus, who opens up our potlatches and clears the floor so that there's good energy, making sure that the floor is cleansed and then the people are all in place. So that's why I opened the show with the Eatmas. And this is a transformation dress. It comes out as a killer whale, and then it drops into a cape, and then the tail drops into the tail of the killer whale.
And I'm wondering, when someone comes into the exhibition, what's the overall impact?
Well, it's going to be different for each individual who goes into the show, but for me, walking in, the impact was, wow, this is amazing, and just looking at all the different interpretations of fashion, the scientific component, the technological component, the innovation, and also just the modern interpretation of story, and specifically for Pamela's garment, the killer whale transformation dress, there is a video that demonstrates how the dress is supposed to move. There actually are some moving dresses in there as well that don't need a video. There is specifically a dress that does move, but yeah, it's just overwhelming, and I actually have to go back to take another look to really absorb everything. It's phenomenally overwhelming.
So technology is an element in the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have to say, Indigenous designers, we've been experimenting with technology since the beginning of time in terms of the technology of pottery making, the technology and the techniques of making a gut skin parka jacket. The technology is absolutely infused with Indigenous design as well.
Then, Pam, that brings me to, how Indigenous fashion fits into North American fashion history.
We've been doing it forever, and now we are finally, I share with a lot of our young people who are starting to design that this is the time right now that we're getting recognition on the world platform. We're starting to see our designers, young people, designing beautiful pieces, and they're being showcased at different parts of the world now. So it's quite exciting, and it's our time. I'd say the last 2 years, the doors have opened a little more for our designers and myself. So it's great to get a lot of recognition now.
And why is representation so important?
Well, representation is important for every culture, for every person. And representation also becomes something as a mentorship. When you see yourself being represented in different mediums or in different platforms across Canada and the United States, it then has something that you can connect to and then possibly follow up with or be inspired by. It really depends, but representation, of course, is really important for everybody. And can I just say, Indigenous fashion, just following up on what Pam was saying, it may have, people are paying a little bit more attention now, but I have to say, Indigenous designers, we've been fashioning, and we are the original couturiers of North America. It's just been framed as anthropological clothing rather than fashion.
And just briefly give me the when and where of the show.
The show is at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and it's open now, May till October of 2023.
So lots of time to come and see these wonderful fashion.
Lots of time to come and see the fashion and to also see Pamela Baker and other designers in Santa Fe for our annual Indigenous Fashion Show.
Well, thank you so much to both of you for coming in and bringing these great fashions.
Thank you so much
for having us.
Hi, my name is Shayna, and this is our Vancouver.
Well, it might not be high fashion, but a Vancouver charity is helping people in need dress for work. Working Gear offers free safety gear and office attire. As CBC's Beneath Breach reports, the charity is seeing growing demand amid inflation and more newcomers to Canada.
Working Gear, a nonprofit in Vancouver's downtown east side, is helping people get back into the workforce. It's like a community shop. Clients can take gear such as safety vests, clothes for an interview, and even get a haircut for free.
There's so many barriers to people getting back to work, and one of the easiest ones to solve is by providing the safety equipment and providing the clothing. I think it's really important now as we see a lot more people are struggling economically.
She says Working Gear is getting busier. Last year, they supported around 1,200 clients. As of May, they've helped more than 800.
The clients that are coming in are newcomers from Ukraine, and they're just trying to rebuild their lives here. We have other demographics that are always kind of steady, like kids aging out of foster care, people that might have had like mental health crises or are exiting out of the criminal justice system.
Andrei arrived in Canada 2 months ago as a Ukrainian refugee.
I got 2 job offers the next day when I get this professional suit. So working here helped me a lot, and I'd like to dedicate my own time, my efforts, and to give back.
This couple is also from Ukraine. Andriy was a professional massage therapist and Katerina a makeup artist for films and shows. Now they volunteer, organize clothes, help others, and continue to look for work.
For us, it's like a family. We came without clothes, or without money, without friends, without family,
The team hopes to expand their services as their community and demand for gear grows. Benit Brach, CBC News, Vancouver.
So many of you take amazing photographs in our beautiful province. We always feature a few of the ones we receive each week. First, Jordan Grant Pedersen captured this sunset while sailing from Duke Point to Tawasin. It's just gorgeous, Jordan. Thank you so much. And Gerard Toney captured this lovely image when a swallowtail butterfly rested its wings for just a moment near a Soyuz. Those colors are just stunning. And finally, Amanda Nelson says she was following her instincts when she found this beautiful lazuli bunting sitting on some sagebrush in Ashcroft. They are also beautiful, so keep them coming. You can email your favorite photos to bcphotos@cbc.ca. That's BC Photos, all one word, at cbc.ca. Here on the West Coast, we all know the iconic orca whales that ply our waters. They move in tight-knit family pods, and tourists flock to see them. But in Spain, a pod of killer whales is getting downright physical, with people ramming several boats. As Renee Filipponi reports, marine researchers have some theories on why.
Oh my God. Orca versus boat. It's become a far too common experience off the coasts of Spain and Portugal. This crew hammers the side of the vessel to try and scare it away. It works, but not before causing serious damage. There have been hundreds of reported attacks over the past couple of years. A handful of boats have sunk. So far, no one has been hurt.
Many people spoke about this, complained, but nobody was doing nothing.
Rui Alves started this website in 2022 to track sightings and attacks. He says fear is keeping some people out of the water.
The local sailors are more worried because they have boats and they cannot go out with the boats. It's a problem.
So this guy's just spun my boat around. He's not giving up. He's really not giving up. I think he's going to snap my rudder off.
Researchers say it's the same two pods of orcas behind the attacks. They don't know how it started, but say they are teaching each other the behavior.
Just feeling like racing a little hell.
This BC whale researcher questions theories the whales could be seeking revenge for a previous collision with a boat. He says it may be much more simple.
I suspect it's just play behavior, and sometimes they get a bit carried away. Pushing on the rudder of a boat, getting this satisfying snap sound, then having the boat go around in circles for a while. It's got to be pretty fun for the whales, and pretty terrifying for the people on the boats, obviously.
Either way, it's become a serious issue with concerns people or orcas will get hurt. The authorities are urging people to stay away from the whales, with experts saying it's possible they may just tire of this destructive behavior. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
As tourist icons go, Stanley Park is pretty much the feather in Vancouver's cap. From stunning beaches to the aquarium, there's a lot to take in. But there is one place that's been left fallow for a number of years. As Justin McElroy reports, what was once a place for bears might soon be put to use again.
For decades, this was one of the strangest sights in Stanley Park. 4 polar bears brought to Vancouver in 1962, part of the park's zoo. As attitudes towards animals in captivity changed, it was shut down. But the enclosure remains, empty since then, littered with garbage and graffiti to the confusion of tourists.
Yeah, it was sad to be empty like that instead of having something.
Use it for something.
And now a local architect firm is proposing just that.
So we're imagining going into a wood-fired sauna on the far side and then coming out into a cold plunge here in the same place where your parents might have seen a polar bear diving.
Osborne's firm has put forward a detailed design for a Nordic-style sauna with different pools, a steam room, and underground areas to relax. On the surface, it might seem like a stretch, but Osborne says it's meant to be a conversation starter.
Vancouver is all too familiar with the experience of having structures demolished and just replaced with something brand new. I think it's much more interesting and a much better cultural practice to retain some sense of history in the past and to integrate what's new into that.
The structure is under the Vancouver Park Board's control, and its chair isn't chilly to the conversation.
I would love to see this come forward as a serious proposal to the board. I always want to see areas where we can reimagine, repurpose, and provide more services for people that come and enjoy our parks and our recreational services.
Still, Jensen says there are more than a few question marks. The cost is a big one, but so too is the Park Board's commitment to make any changes to Stanley Park in consultation with local First Nations, who have a history with the site that long precedes the polar bears.
That would be step one into ensuring that the respect for Stanley Park is maintained in any sort of moving forward collaboration.
The one thing that is for certain is that eventually the Park Board will have to decide what to do with this land that has sat vacant for more than 25 years. So the question becomes whether a sauna is the thing they want to take the plunge for. Justin McElroy, CBC News, Vancouver.
Coming up, the potential of using fruit waste to power fuel cells. Johanna Wagstaff has the science.
Fruit is an item that is in abundance in the agricultural belt of the Okanagan Valley. But according to the BC government, organic waste represents 40% of material in provincial landfills, and it's a growing problem for urban areas around the world. Current waste treatment methods, such as landfills and incineration, comes with a wide range of environmental impacts, including air pollution and methane production. This is why researchers at the University of British Columbia, Okanagan, are looking at the potential of using fruit waste to power fuel cells. Microbial fuel cells convert fruit waste into electrical energy. The key is to keep the bacteria in a sealed off chamber with no oxygen. Here, the bacteria consume the organic matter and release electrons and protons in this process. With no oxygen in that chamber, they flow through a circuit to a separate chamber where they join the protons and oxygen, while at the same time completing a current and generating bioelectricity in the process. The team says different types of fruits provide different results, mostly because of the individual biochemical characteristics. And they're now working towards increasing the bioconversion efficiency of fruit, which they hope will result in higher voltage outputs. We're still a ways away from tossing a banana peel into the back of your car to make it go, but we are just beginning to fully understand the possibilities of microbial fuel cells, and turning waste into green and renewable energy serves a dual environmental purpose. And now, your Science Smart. If you have a science question on your mind, send me an email and I'll try to get it answered.
Thanks, Johanna. Welcome back to our Vancouver. I'm Belle Puri. Our next guest's culinary career has included almost every position in a professional kitchen. And now he's winning awards for his work and runs one of the city's most successful restaurants. It's called Suyo, Modern Peruvian, and it just snagged Vancouver Magazine's gold for Best New Restaurant and Best Latin American Restaurant. Chef Ricardo Valverde is here with us today. Hello, welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Congratulations. What a wonderful honor to win this award.
Yes, it's been a great couple of weeks for us at the restaurant. The team is very excited, we're happy, and gives us more energy to keep going.
Now tell me, what has life been like since you won this award?
Reservations have increased, significantly, and we're happy. But it's a good problem to have. So we're very happy to see that coming right now.
And tell me about how your career got started.
So I started actually here in Vancouver in Steveston Village, just working in the fish and chip restaurants. Then at some point I realized that this is what I wanted to do. Someone told me that there is a big world out there when it comes to food. And yeah, I pursue it. Next thing you know, fast forward almost 20 years plus, I was blessed to open my own restaurant. So here we are.
But you've worked in other restaurants before.
I have worked in a
Tell
few
us about
restaurants.
that.
So I worked at restaurants like Blue Water Cafe, Chin Chin, Ancora, and then eventually now Suyo.
So I see that you've brought some lovely dishes here, and you're going to do something for us as well. But what is traditional Peruvian food?
So yeah, basically what we've done here is we bring an array of tradition and modern, right? So this is what our concept is all about. So we have tradition like the lomo saltado, which is a Chinese Peruvian cuisine dish, right? So we have the stir fry with the Peruvian ají peppers, the soy jus in there. It's something that
so good.
we love very much. Then this is a more sort of a modern technique where we vegetarian ceviche with a gazpacho with ceviche sauce. So this is where the fusion comes in play. We have a little bit of octopus here, grilled with an anticucho sauce, which is a street food dish, usually made with beef hearts. This time we do it with octopus, very, very popular in Peru. And I'm going to show you here one of the most traditional and popular Peruvian dishes, which is called ceviche clásico.
Love it, love it. And tell me while you're doing that,
Yes.
What's the inspiration behind your restaurant?
It comes from coming from Vancouver to Vancouver from Peru with my family. Suyo means homeland. So basically, the inspiration is bringing home to Vancouver, which is Peru.
And
right?
Vancouver's been home for quite a while.
Vancouver has been home for 25 years this year, actually in March. So yes, we've been here for a while now, and this is a beautiful way. So what I'm doing here is I've already salted the halibut. It's always good to use young halibut, less fat, more lean. And then we've salted it, we let it sit for a while. Now we put a little bit of cilantro. And then right away, we're just gonna transfer to the plate.
That's it.
That's it. And then
Simple. Even I could do that.
we have our leche de tigre, which is the Peruvian marinade for ceviche. So that's what goes in there. And this is so refreshing. Ginger, garlic, lime, fish stock. And then we finish garnishing here with shaved onions. This have been run through cold water. And then we finish with Peruvian cornuts called cancha. Peruvian corn called choclo. And then some...
Look how big the kernels are.
Yes, they're beautiful. And they come straight from Peru. We're able to have a good supplier that sources this out. And then we're gonna finish here with some micro cilantro. And this is ready to eat.
And the fish is raw.
The fish is raw, cured with salt, last minute. So it's kind of like a sashimi style fish, yes.
And are we going to try it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Perfect. So this is for you. I would start with a little bit of the corn nuts, a little bit of the leche de tigre. You're gonna get that beautiful citrus balance in there. Then you can probably have some of the yam to balance the acidity of the sauce, right? It's really, really tasty. So another dish that I would like you to try, for example, would be the octopus, right? Grilled.
And how did you do that?
This is basically steamed for 3 hours, and then we finish it on the grill. On top, we have a little chimichurri, which is basically cilantro, parsley, olive oil, garlic, all mixed together, like a salsa verde, but the South American style.
Okay, I'm still thinking about the ceviche.
It's very good, eh?
It's very good.
Great for the summer.
Really nice. Really has, a sense of freshness.
Absolutely. And it actually goes very well with, we brought some Peruvian wines here. So I have...
Try the octopus.
We're the only restaurant in the city that actually it's giving out Peruvian wine, probably in the country. So we have a beautiful Chardonnay here called Blanco de Blancos. And this, sorry, it's a Sauvignon Blanc, And then I brought you a little taste, actually.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, that octopus, I was having trouble listening to you because
Yes, it's so good,
so good.
No,
oh
so
my
good.
gosh, that's so good. And so tell me one more time, the wine, what are we drinking?
So this is a Sauvignon Blanc from Peru in the region of Ica. So this is where they produce a lot of pisco. Very fruity, tropical notes, goes great with ceviche, goes great actually with the octopus as well, because it's got those fruity tropical notes, like the smokiness, so it goes really well with it.
Okay, and I do want to ask you, as before we just try this, do you cook like this at home?
Sometimes.
Your family gets
when
to eat
time
like
allows
this?
it. When time allows it, yes, official guests. But
And children like it all? They enjoy it?
I have a 16 months old son that actually is very adventurous already, which makes me happy. I guess my DNA went in there somehow, which is a good thing.
Well, this is really lovely, and thank you so much for bringing all this in and sharing with us.
Absolutely, thank you. My pleasure.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
Ever since you said it, you went and took the credit as we headed this way since the world began. When a vicious creature took the jump from monkey to man.
If you want to go to see some live music, multi-Grammy Award winner Elvis Costello and the Imposters play at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre on June 7th. And Iranian singer-songwriter Gugush also at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre on June 9th.
Hey, I'm Grant Lawrence from CBC Music, and I'm delighted to let you know that one of my favorite musicians from the North, way north, is returning this month with a brand new album. Terry Urak is from the tiny island of Igloolik, north of the Arctic Circle in the Northwest Passage. And Terry made history a few years ago when his song Inuit Nunangat became the first ever Inuktitut song to chart on the CBC Music Top 20. A beautiful tune there from Terry Urak from his debut album that came out in 2020, which not only charted on the CBC Music Top 20, but also landed Terry a Juno Award nomination. Now, one of the greatest aspects of Terry's music and his videos is that they provide us Southerners with a window into life in the North. You don't need to understand the language, it's the melodies and the feelings within the songs that let you in. From his brand new record that will be released on the first day of summer when the sun will be high over his Arctic home, here is Terry Urak with a beautiful new song called Nutarlunga, which translates to When I Was a Kid. There you go, that's Terry Urak with his recently released song Nutarlunga, or When I Was a Kid, inspired by memories of months-long traditional hunting trips in the summer with his family, epic expeditions traveling over 60 kilometers north of Igloolik looking for seals, Arctic char, caribou, and walrus. Besides Terry's music, his Instagram account is also an amazing glimpse into daily life north of the Arctic Circle. The caption for that video was simply, "Out Here Living." Now, as I mentioned, Terry's new album is out June 21st. It's called Unwalk, which Terry describes as healing songs. They connect the husband, father, and artist that he is now to the young boy he was when he heard forbidden folk songs of his people for the first time. Now, those songs were prohibited by the church, according to Terry, but they finally began to reemerge in his community when he was a kid. At a young age, it was clear to Terry that those ancient songs possessed a kind of healing power, so much so that in the course of creating his original music, Terry Urak is aware of its legacy and the memories that his songs will evoke. That's Terry Urak with Kaigi, the first song on his new album that will be out in a couple of weeks. And that is the tune that you need to add to your playlist for this week from Terry Urak of Igloolik, Nunavut. I'm Grant Lawrence from CBC Music. I'll check in with you again soon.
Coming up, BC's very own Human Serviette helps mark 85 years of UBC's campus radio. Welcome back to our Vancouver. I'm Belle Puri. UBC's campus radio station, CITR, turns 85 years old this year. Who better to celebrate this than its infamous host and celebrity interviewer, Nardwar, the Human Serviette. I caught up with Nardwar on CBC's afternoon radio show on the coast.
John Ruskin, CITR Radio. Mr. Chrétien, regarding Suharto, there's a song out there right now by a punk band called the Nomads, called the Suharto Stomp. Earlier today as well at UBC, there were an incredible number of protesters. Do you think, Mr. Chrétien, if you were, say, 40 years younger, that you too would be writing punk songs and protesting against APEC?
We want to know how you're doing, celebrating a huge milestone, and we want to help you celebrate UBC's campus radio station's 85th birthday.
Yes, 85 years of CITR Radio, and it was CITR Radio that got me into that press conference, the little clip that you played. It was amazing. CITR basically is a radio station that anybody can join. We're not like a regular radio station where you're told what to do. At CITR, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're an operator. You can do whatever you want, and it will even give you press credentials to get into the APEC conference 1987 to ask John Chrétien a question.
And be part of that infamous clip now. And you know what? A lot of our hosts, a lot of my colleagues and contributors to our shows here at CBC, Michelle Elliott, Dan Burrett, Steve Jung, Lisa Christensen, they also worked at CITR. Okay, let's talk about the music scene. The radio station has played quite a role in that as well.
It's pretty amazing that CITR has presented so many gigs over the years. Like, for instance, when Iggy Pop came to Vancouver in like the 70s, he couldn't even play like the Commodore Ballroom. But at the university, he could play the Sub Ballroom. So CITR presented many, many, many influential gigs at UBC. And also, if people want to relive a bit of CITR past, just Google CITR audio tapes, that's CITR audio tapes, and actually a lot is archived, and you can listen to a lot of past shows. If you Google Discorder UBC Library, all the Discorder magazines, because we also put out a program guide called Discorder Magazine. And we've had many people on the cover of the Discorder magazine, including Grapes of Wrath right here. So CITR put out a program guide, and also CITR put out an album in 1985 called the Shindig album in 1985, part of the Shindig Battle of Bands that we put on that still continue to this day. So CITR is still involved in the community doing stuff, which is pretty amazing, and putting out the magazine and being on the radio, and people can join too. And thank you for having me on, Belle. I really appreciate that.
Let's go back to 1993. So that's when you tried to tell former Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev to keep on rocking in the free world in Russian. You also asked him, of all the political figures he's met, who has the largest pants?
Nardwar from CITR Radio. First off, Družny, Rockin, u Slobodny Svet.
What's your question?
That was keep on rocking in a free world in Russia. And I was also wondering, of all the political figures that Dr. Gorbachev has encountered, who has the largest pants?
Thank you very much. We'd like to call up now the...
Družny Rockin.
What do you try to get out of these interviews?
Well, it's pretty amazing. Like CITR got me into that press conference, and I was there with my friend Lloyd and Mirko. And Mirko said, "Why don't you tell him to keep on rocking the free world?" I was like, "Well, I don't understand like how he could understand me." He was like, "Say Dershne Rockin' u Slobodny Svet." So I said it to him. And also I came out with that question with Lloyd, like, of all the leaders you've encountered, who has the largest pants?
You asked then Premier Christy Clark if Pointed Sticks played the first concert she ever saw.
And Christy Clark, right off the bat, was this your first concert, really? The Pointed Sticks.
Wow. No, it wasn't.
Well, it was amazing at local punk shows. She mentioned like the Pointed Sticks. And she also mentioned the replacements too. And again, this is me, Nardwar, the human serviette, live with Belle, celebrating yet yours 85th and 85 years.
This is where I'm supposed to say doot 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 doot.
Well, thanks so much, Belle. Keep on rocking the free world and doot doot loot doo.
Doot doot.
Hi, my name is Ambika.
Hi, my name is Varinder.
Hi, my name is Himanshi, and this is my little brother.
And this is our Vancouver.
A new hub for gardening, community, and celebrating Jewish culture is welcoming visitors. The Vancouver Jewish Community Garden was created to share Jewish teachings, promote collaboration, and address harder-hitting issues like food insecurity. We spoke with organizers who said they hope the garden will be a gathering space for years to come.
This project is about 5 years in the making. It started with just a few planters. We thought we would plant the vegetables that Beth Israel uses for a once-a-month soup for the Jewish food bank. And before we knew it, we had created this incredibly beautiful and massive Jewish community garden that not only provides food to those with food insecurity, but also teaches our children about food, food security, environmentalism, literally while they are getting their hands dirty.
I think this garden is special for many reasons. What we got to create was a space that grows so many different kinds of plants, offers different kinds of gatherings in different kinds of ways. There's gathering spaces, educational learning spaces, sing-along spaces. There's an orchard, there's perennial wall, there's indigenous plants, there's plants that are meaningful and sacred to Jewish ritual. There's spaces for people to learn how to grow vegetables. And then the spaces that were designed within the garden to host community gatherings.
A lot of the food that is grown here will go directly to the Jewish food bank at the JFS. Hopefully, by the time we come to Rosh Hashanah this September, the apple trees that we have planted will have grown some apples.
Coming up, love and art in a time of war. Welcome back to our Vancouver. I'm Belle Puri. It's a true story about love in the face of a pandemic and an invasion. That's how the play First Métis Man of Odessa that just wrapped this weekend was billed. It follows Matthew Mackenzie, a Métis playwright, and Maria Homatova, a Ukrainian actor. Stephen Quinn spoke with the husband and wife duo on the CBC's morning radio show, The Early Edition.
Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Great to meet you over the line this morning. Matthew, I'll go to you first. So this is a true story. Take us back to the beginning. How did you find yourself in Odessa?
Well, I first found myself in Kyiv, where we were doing a workshop with Ukrainian-Canadian playwright Liana Makuk, who's actually the director of our show. I was working with her as a dramaturge, and we hired Ukrainian actors who could speak English. And Maria was one of these actors. So that was in 2018, and that's how we met.
And Maria, what's your version of the story of meeting each other?
Correct. I was very impressed that the whole Canadian team was searching for Ukrainian actors, and somehow they found me because I was speaking English. So I think it was call of the fate.
Mm-hmm. And how did you decide that you liked each other?
Well, we struck up a friendship, and about a year later, I worked up the nerve to ask Maria if she felt there was a spark, and she said yes. I think she was a little ahead of me on that, and she came and visited me in Toronto, and then I had another contract in Ukraine in early 2020. And that's where I got the opportunity to go to Odessa, which is sister city of Vancouver, and meet Masha's parents and just see that incredible city.
It was difficult from the beginning. It was like nonstop marathon of challenges that we had to overcome. And especially in 2022, when the war happened, I thought that we won't survive in a way because we are rioters and I am actor, and we tend to live in our imagination, in our heads a lot. So I just closed. I closed from all the news that I received and all the messages that I got from my friends. I was struck with all this information, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to create, do anything, didn't want to work. So Matthew slowly persuaded me to start writing it all out as a diary. I didn't plan to do it as a play.
We traveled to Odessa
To meet with my mother and father.
A big part of this play is about what's happening in Ukraine, but your Ukrainian roots, I mean, tell me where that shows up in the story.
It shows up through my parents, I guess, first of all, and I'm from Odessa. I'm from Odessa family, which means that it's a very mixed international city. There are many nationalities, and my family is Russian Ukrainian, and I speak both languages, and I read literature and books from both cultures. And so for me, this war is double betrayal. You know what I mean? It's the country that I respected and that has my family, my one wing of the family still in Russia. And this country started this betrayal in this war. And that was just double whammy on me. So, and Ukrainian is amazingly hospitable, beautiful folklore culture, which I always respected and loved. And we don't have this much reflection in our play. It's just, we just have this reflection of myself, how the country with a huge tradition, cultural tradition, can do this kind of thing with another smaller country, which is a neighbor country. So this sort of little political reflection also makes place in our play.
Yeah, and we speak about how Maria's mom has come to live with us for over a year now, Olga. She got out of Odessa 2 weeks after the invasion, and Maria's dad, Eugene, is a doctor, and he's still in Odessa. So we were very keen to not, appropriate stories.
At the end of this program, we like to tip our hats to our talented photojournalists on staff at CBC Vancouver. They bring us images in their artful ways to give depth and deep character to the stories we cover. Here is a sampling from what they saw this past week. That's all for our Vancouver this week. Bye for now.